know Thompson Thrift as an integrated full-service real estate company with over 350 team members operating in offices and developing projects across the United States. What we know today about Thompson Thrift represents gifts, many gifts, resulting from years of hard work, learning, sacrifice, and many, many fun times with great team members working together to make a positive impact on one another and on communities. The gifts we enjoy today lay the foundation for tomorrow's success. From whom much is given, from him much will be required. So it is important to remember the milestones and moments at Thompson Thrift. Events, projects, people, and memories that have created a strong foundation to propel Thompson Thrift and each of us into the future.
Well, I think all the beginnings and all the memories are humble. Paul and I started out in 1986. I had been out of high school for about a year, and Paul had just graduated.
We were simply trying to pay our way through school, and we're very entrepreneurial, and so we bought our first acquisition together was a repossessed home at 333 South 16th Street that we bought for $3,000.
You know, two young men that are trying to, make their mark in the world and go out and do something different. And so, that's where we were. And we were willing to try anything and do anything. And, as long as it was legal and moral and required hard work, we were up for it.
And Paul said, well, there's your office. And so I picked the couch up, moved it out of the way. And he said, why don't you run down to Staples and get yourself a desk and come back? So I went downstairs, jumped in the car, put a desk together from Staples, one of those souders with all the little ratchets, and it took me about 6 hours, and that was my first day at Thompson Thrift building my desk.
And we could yell, Henry, what about this? And we were all right there together. And if you think back to where we came from, invoices filed in pockets stuck on a shelf, to a full paperless system with routing, electronic routing and approval, we couldn't do near the volume that we're doing.
Here we are sharing tools from one job site to the other, sharing extension cords, dropping people off because there was only so many vehicles to get everybody everywhere. So we got most of Anthony Square framed up. One of the weekends in the summer, a holiday weekend, woke up to looking at the news, and it had burnt to the ground. The feeling in the warehouse that next morning, there's a lot of people thought, well, we're done, including myself at that time. But we never missed a lick.
Wow, John, do you ever think we'll average $1 million in contract value on all of our jobs? And we just kind of looked at each other and shook our heads and said, oh, no, never happened.
As Thompson Thrift moved into the 21st century, exciting changes were on the horizon. Projects began to grow in size and number. New markets opened up and partnerships grew. Team members with diverse skills and experience joined the team, and the impact TT was making on the lives of families and communities continued to expand. It was time for Thompson Thrift to find its new home and make room for the growth ahead.
A lot of money and resources were poured into identifying the right teams. Josh came on board in markets that were showing signs of growth when things were slowing down in many areas. That's why Houston and Alabama, to some degree Oklahoma, because of the oil situation, that's why those projects took us there.
Like the rest of the world, we braced for the impact of the recession. As the country lost over 8.7 million jobs and unemployment rates soared, we embraced the challenges that lay ahead and prepared to not only survive, but to grow and thrive during the difficult times.
John Thompson had called everyone in construction into the conference room one-on-one in Terre Haute And he let all of us know, all right guys, we aren't laying anyone else off. This is the team that's gonna get it done. We aren't dropping any projects. You guys are all gonna have to work more, but this is the team that's gonna get it done. You know, when I think about a challenge that the company has faced, to me there was no more bleak time than that time. Yet, the fundamentals of what I think of Thompson Thrift were there, which is having a plan, working hard, and then seeing that plan through.
It was a big time of expansion for us, geographically, a lot of new faces, a lot of product types that we had not dealt with in the past. And so what we found through that dynamic growth was we had really lost our culture. So today we function in a totally different model than what we did just 6, 7 years ago. So we began to work very diligently on building out leadership teams and pushing out the decision-making closer to the action, if you will. So we've spent a lot more time working on the business rather than just in the business.
The key highlights that I'm very proud of for 2019 is the opening Fisher's District, the yard in Fisher's. Very exciting project that has taken many years to bring together. It was very exciting to see that project come to very close to being completed, with tenants starting to open, with the apartments nearing completion.
Watermark 3G Fund was a $105 million equity raise, which is the largest raise that we've had at one time. And I think that it just is a testament to our relationships, to our reputation in the community with people, and our team and our track record. We had about 60% new investors, so we were able to use our existing relationships, who would then introduce us to new capital partners.
Anything I can say to people coming on, John and Paul are family-oriented people. They have great insight of what's going on as far as the economics of the country. Best thing I can tell you is just jump on and go for the ride.
From the many gifts provided to Thompson Thrift over the years, efforts in 2019 displayed extraordinary stewardship and nurturing of those gifts. Having now developed nearly 2 million square feet of retail and mixed-use projects, developed over 11,000 multifamily residential units in 13 states, launching new luxury leased home projects, and achieving well over $2 billion in project volume, the blueprint for success has been drawn. We now ask ourselves, what's needed most for our future success? A commitment to living the core, continuing to embody our mission of making a positive impact on our team members and the communities we serve, demonstrating our values of excellence, service, and leadership in everything we do, and constantly striving for personal improvement by displaying our core competencies. We will wake up each day knowing that much is required of each of us because of the gifts provided by others who have helped pave the way. And we will know that our journey towards success is always beginning.
Career advice to anybody at Thompson Thrift, it would be to not let John Thompson mix your drinks.
Is that I still think I saw last week some files from the Sycamore Place that were still on Adam Fisher's desk.
When I first started working directly with Paul Thrift, and I dropped him off for an appointment, but as he's getting out of the car, he says, hey, run up to the nearest Paradise Bakery, get us some lunch, but be sure to get me a tea. But he didn't specify what kind. So I drive over to the store, I get us some lunch. They had 2 different teas that day, so I got one of each, being the very smart project engineer that I was. And on the way back to pick him up, I got thirsty, so I took a swig of one of them. And so he gets in the car, I hand him his lunch, and he looks down and he says, so which one is mine? I said, well, Paul, here's this flavor and here's this flavor. I don't know if you're funny about it, but, I took a drink of this one, but you can have either one. And he looked at me and said, I'm funny about it.